The light was so warm and embracing. Its gentle caress against my skin soothed me while it shimmered down upon me with its everlasting rays of light. Though I was staring upon the edges of the cliff, sitting on a swing of this old cherub tree, I listened closely to her who stood at the edge in her beauty. She began slow and settled, giving not just me, but the sky a note of her ode. Her voice was the taste of honey that formed into a soothing symphony, and as she strung her bow against the chords of her hymn, it was in bask of a great aurora of love, warmth, and sadly pain. When you listen to a siren, you will not just hear her calling out to you, to your doom. You hear the pain in her voice that only strings to her loneliness. When she first came here to the small rural town, no one truly understood her. She barely spoke in class, stood in the back from the teachers' and students' eyes, and kept no contact with the others. She seemed perfect. Great to be a ghost of the school where she could be hit by a bus, and no one at Canterlot High would even mourn for her. She was better off that way, in just being a ghost, until she made her chance to shine into the living. She was slow at first, making a chance to share her goal, to commune with others, and as I watched her struggle through, many pushed her away. They all treated her like a fool. I frowned at this. It was not the first time someone like her wanted to make friends or be somebody. When you want to make friends, you need to prove your existence. Sometimes fighting or relating with a particular fad would start you fresh. But the way she did it was sad. She had no experience. She had no clue what anyone talked about, and she was lost. It was sad. And yet, I found it hard not to laugh. So she tried and bled and cried, and it was still funny. I watched her still get up and continue to be alive, to have that sense of existence, to make the world know she was here, even if it meant her earning a cold, miserable shoulder. The teachers scolded her, the students mocked her, and the principals were blinded with their work. They didn't even know she existed. It was perfect. She was the perfect victim. I pity her. When she had that moment any lonely girl would have, that moment to shine, she sung in a choir finally, causing the students to become awe. The music teacher was stunned, and I was allured. It could be wise for me to use such a big word for you, but I was infatuated with her voice. It was beautiful, overwhelming, pulling me in like a siren. Her voice was dulce, and her tranquil smile was almost as if she was actually amiable. The bullies of hers from yesterday became the false friends of hers today, and I could not help but find it repulsing, to say the least. She was imperfect, but wonderful at the same time. However, I knew this wouldn't last long enough, for even we can be like Icarus and smack down hard by Apollo's fury. Days, weeks, this siren sung for many, and I only watched. Her skin uncoiled, her silent nature was no longer quiet, and the happiness she contained was tainted by a lie that lied in her voice. Sure, she sang beautifully, but she sang to the wrong crowd. They did not deserve to hear her out, but sadly, she was too lost to even notice what they actually were seeking out of her, and how her voice was so compelling to them all. As she grew in her melodies, I sat and only listened. You see, there was something they all failed to see in her, and it was the message in her voice. She was crying, without shedding tears. Those lovely notes being given to us all were simply sad letters forming words, where the words formed only a sign to her suffering, and opened my eyes and ears to watch and listen. They listened to what they felt, but I listened to how she felt. And it was there she discovered the saddest thing about her that made her regret ever gaining the attention she had always yearned for. Suffering. And it was still hard not to laugh at it. I bet you think I'm the most horrible person in the world. Honestly, you don't even know me like I knew this girl. I knew her schedule, figured out her notes, and watched the places she mostly stays away from and goes to. She was an angel, always trying to be good, but she was a suffering one, only able to sing to the wrong crowd about her pain, how she truly feels about this world. How she truly feels about the world? The world that cast her to the sea. So I let time play its chorus and the crowd clap their beats, for as long as she could sing, I was still the second person who knew that she was trying to mean. You would have probably wanted to hold her, talk to her, or ask her out, but literally, you wouldn't have in the first place. All you'll be focused on is just her voice, but not her until I bring it up. She is like this. She is searching for something in this sad world. So I let time play its chorus and the crowd clap their beats. For as long as she could sing, I was still the second person who knew what she was trying to mean. You would have probably wanted to hold her, talk to her, or ask her out. But literally, you know you wouldn't have in the first place. All you'll be focused on is just her voice, but not her, not till I bring it up. She is like us. She is searching for something in this sad world, but no one is helping her finding it. Why should I help? Because I knew that she was all alone and shall always be. So we are here now, after a whole year, where Fujin blew his winds with his harp, and the old tunes of the chorus of fates played their melodic chords and notes. This was the final stage, as the only crowd before her was the sky, sea below the cliffs, and me. She sung, slowly, crying down where her tears would drop into the heartless sea of Poseidon. And I simply just watched, swinging back and forth slowly on the swing attached to the branch. The sun shined upon her now, and thus her final ode was done. The epilogue was concluded, and she looked back at me. She knew that I only listened to her the entire time and did nothing to accommodate her persistence to exist. I did not frown. I did not smile. I did not turn away. We looked at each other, and our gazes did not break. She stepped back, and my swing stopped with me, and I watched her slip away with a smile. She was free, and no longer suffering. The winds all died out, and the symphony that played along her melodies was gone. She had finished. It was the last thing I ever heard from such a beautiful creature. Sunset Shimmer, my name, was the last I heard from her. Adagio. And I still couldn't help but smile.